Welcome to the Pool Nation podcast, where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. We talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. Now let's welcome your host, with over a decade of industry insider experience and still the reigning champion of Marco Polo, Edgar De Jesus, and his co-host, John JJ Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and Zac the Pool Boy Nicholas.
Welcome, everyone, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. I am your host, Edgar De Jesus, and yes, I am the reigning champion of Marco Polo, along with John JJ Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and the famous Zac, the Pool Boy Nicholas. Today, we are jumping into part 4 of our Winter Business series over here, obviously talking about profit, margins, increasing your prices if you need to. And we're going to do a deep dive into that. But before we do that, I want to welcome everyone to our live podcast, a podcast where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting and splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. And yes, we will talk about the latest products, trends, and trading in the pool industry. But before we get started today, I want to thank our visionary partners for this podcast, the SPPA, Blu-ray XL, Aqua Star Pool Products, Natural Chemistry, Raypack, Heritage Pool Supply, Harewood Pool Products, Poolside Tech, Pool Brain, and Nidec. We want to thank them for their continued support. Mr. Zacharias, I know that we just spent like 3 or 4 days together, but how you doing?
I am doing good. Yeah, we spent some time together, but I feel like I haven't been on the podcast for a few weeks. You did it solo.
Last week I did solo, yeah.
I think that was the first in the history. Was
No,
it?
I did one more that was solo a long time ago. It is weird. It's really weird. Like, I can do them. I just don't enjoy them.
Yeah, it feels odd not being there. And I listened to it, though. It was really good.
Was it good?
It was good.
No,
And I
there's a time out. I want you to give me the raw, true, honest feedback.
No, it was really good.
You know how I am. I want to hear the bad things, not the good
tell me
things.
what I did wrong.
Yeah, what did I do bad?
Yeah.
What do I need to do better?
No, it was really good. I think you have definitely grown into your radio host, podcaster mojo. So it was really good. The content was really good too. And that's kind of where we left off before. When I was last on, we were kind of touching into what you were talking about, hidden leaks and things like that. And so hopefully after going through it, a lot of it is like pretty straightforward stuff, but it's just stuff that you don't think about on a regular basis. And so hopefully now that people like went through that and explained that, people can start to look at those things and see where those hidden leaks are happening in their business and tighten that up. And then today we'll kind of build on top of that. So I'm looking forward to getting into that.
Yeah. And when I was going through, it's funny because it's like each one of those hidden leaks, I was like, I want to get your thoughts, Zac. I want to get your thoughts, Zac. And there's nobody there to be able to kind of give me their thoughts. And it's what I love about our industry is like, there's no one way to do it. Like you can have multiple ways to do it, but it was really weird because I was obviously talking about like the drive time and the chemical creep and all that kind of, and it's just weird when it's just a one-way conversation.
Pretty soon you'll just have like a AI video thing of me and of John to fill in that you can talk to and it'll respond to you. And
I wonder if I could do a podcast with my Chat GPT.
See if anyone notices.
No, I'm saying like literally do a podcast and record it talking to the AI and having the AI answer back.
Oh, that's creepy.
That was weird, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'd have to give her a name and ask her business questions and see what she answers.
No, I'm not ready for this stuff.
So anyway, Zac, it was great. So for everybody listening, we were out at the Aquastar Golden Ticket and we've been there before. We had been to do the tour, but Zac and I had not been part of a Golden Ticket event. And what the Golden Ticket event is an event that Aquastar does every year. And they bring out, I don't remember if I think it's 10 people. And they cover every expense. So they buy your plane tickets. You get to bring a +1. They pay for the +1. They pay for the hotel. They pay for the transportation. They pay for everything. And what you do is you kind of go out and have dinner the night before. You get together. You meet everybody. The next day, you get to go to Aquastar and kind of do a plant tour, which is It's absolutely mind-boggling, Zach, because we talk about it and it's like, I don't think there's very many companies, forget about the pool industry. I don't think there's very many companies, period, in the US that is able to do what Aquastar does. And that is that they can do everything from napkin design to delivering the product. And what I mean by that is they do the designs and the engineering team gets together, they do the prototypes, they design them, they make the tools to be able to create the products, then they turn around and they create the products, and then they assemble the products, and then they package them and they ship them out the door. There's not many companies that do that. There's a lot of companies that import parts and then it's just kind of assembly. They're doing everything in house, and it's very impressive to be able to see. And the equipment and all the molding machines that look like a robo, like a Total Recall machine, right? Like when they're pressing all the buttons and the doors open and they get in and the mold stuff comes out. It's pretty freaking cool.
It's amazing, honestly. And there are a lot of things that, and we won't go into it, but when you hear what goes into making it happen and the thought process and all of the considerations and temperature and outside weather and pressures and materials, and there is a huge laundry list of things that have to be addressed, and each thing has to work with the other thing in order to make the end result happen. And some of these things are just problems that they solve that you're like, most people would be like, okay, that's a problem and it's not going to be solved. And so, yet they figure out a way to move forward with it. And I think the whole thing is absolutely amazing. Not only that, like it's really cool to see, but it's just a great time with great people. The passion, we talk about it every time. There's different kind of departments and areas of expertise. And as we were doing the tour, and each person's giving us the tour, it's like you could just feel the passion for what they're doing, which was a lot of fun. It was a great time.
Yeah, they definitely have an amazing team. They have amazing culture, and it's just amazing. It's hard to explain, Zach. Like you could talk about it and you can share it, but until you go through it, you live it, you see these machines that weigh 7 to 10 tons, and they're creating those molds out of all that steel and heaviness. And then they bought a forklift that can lift 22 tons just to be able to move some of these things. And then they have that big, huge boom arm, which I thought was to move it to the equipment. No, that's just to take them out to be able to clean them and do all that and then put them back. It's absolutely amazing. We do have a surprise next year we have a couple surprises next year with Aquastar, but I was telling them that we need to be more vocal with pushing the golden ticket because it's all at random. They just kind of do these random giveaways. And last year, the last two golden tickets, people had to go to the booth over to win. And then at the end, it came out to a game of cornhole to see who would be kind of the winner and stuff like that. It's so freaking cool, right? Like talk about tensions and stuff like that. So some really cool stuff that I think we need to kind of push and get more people involved because the hotel was a resort. It was on the beach. They didn't spare any expense. It was all top notch. The night before it was like good. Steak dinner. And I mean, it was just legit. Breakfast open bar. We joked around about the open bar. Breakfast. They covered breakfast.
Those burritos.
Oh, I went down 2 cappuccinos in hand. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? It was amazing stuff. So I do want to give a shout out to everybody that went out to the event, everybody that we were able to connect with. It felt like we were kind of a family by day 2 hanging out. And then, hey, I'm going to have to brag a little bit, but I was the champion of the shuffleboard.
I was waiting for this.
So I do have to say, for everybody out there, I got onto the shuffleboard, and I was on the shuffleboard for like 3 hours, Zach?
All night. I think all left, and you were still going on the shuffleboard.
So, but let me tell you the truth, Zach, I suck at it, right? Like I was playing with Kenya from Barstow Pools, and she's really good at it. So we started playing. I happened to get on her team. And the only reason I got on her team is because her husband is really freaking good. So we played the first game, and between him and Kenya, they whooped us really bad. And so then what we did is we split it to even it out. And then we started playing, and then Kenya I kid you not, I was just like, literally, I would throw mine and screw it up. And I'd be like, Kenya, you got to fix it. She's like, I got this. And she'd come over and knock the other people off the board.
You guys had a long winning streak there.
If I didn't have her on my team, I would have been off the table off the first. Well, I lost the first game really easy and I was out. But then all of a sudden, her and I got on a streak and we took on every challenger and just whooped them. Well,
that was fun. We were playing, what is it, foosball?
oh, the foosball. I sat over watching you guys play. You guys got all into the foosball.
Yeah. Leanne,
making rackets and noise. Bang, 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 bang. So you actually got pretty good at the foosball towards the end. I kind of noticed that you were a little bit more strategic. You weren't just like hitting it hard, but you were a little bit more strategic. Like you figured out where you could put the guy and score. And I kind of watched you like 3 or 4 times. The ball would come and you'd be like, I got this. Click, score.
And then John was like lifting the table, leaning it.
Yeah. So
it was a good time.
Yeah, it was a good time. And everybody playing basketball. I did get whooped at basketball. Like Todd.
Me too.
Dude, Todd spanked me. Like I did 62 points, 67 points. And I was all excited. And he's all, watch this. He goes, you have to learn the bank shot. And he just sat there, bup, 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 bup. And he scored like 96 points. I'm like, just gonna go away over here.
You guys left and I was like, all right, I'm going to beat 96. And I think I came in like 51 and I was like, all right, this is not my thing.
You know, but anyway, it was a great time. All right, Zach. So let's start talking about this. So last week I did the podcast. I talked about the hidden leaks. We talked about the drive time. We talked about the chemical creep. We talked about the non-billable labor. We talked about the micro tasks that kind of go in with those non-billable label hours. We talked a little bit more in depth about the bad route design that kind of goes into the drive time. If you tackle one, it kind of fixes the other. And then the other one that we talked about was the office and the equipment leaks and the trucks and all those things. And today really ties in really good to those. And I want to talk a little bit because we talked about what to do now that you know what your true cost per pool is. Like if you've kind of gone through those 3 podcasts, you've kind of done a little bit of the homework and you've kind of gone through it, you've been able to figure out your true cost per pool. Anybody out there that wants to, be able to get some help and kind of go through it, our Matrix program is built for that. Our Matrix program is built for helping people figure out their financials from that side. We have a software that we use, and Zach and I are jumping on calls with people all the time, just kind of having them enter that through the system. So if you're somebody that still wants to figure that out, wants to do that, reach out to us. We can get you in part of the Matrix program, especially now that it's wintertime, to figure out your numbers and do the homework and kind of get it ready. But today's episode builds right on top of that. And we figure out what that cost is. Today, I've got Mr. Zacharias here. I'm going to throw Zach a little kind of compliments over here. The myth, the legend, and the cleanest pools in Texas, baby. Mr. Zacharias. So, Zach, I know that you listened to the podcast because we just talked about it. Was there anything that you think that I left out with regards to hidden leaks?
Off the top of my head, no, not that I can think of. I think you did a good job of covering like the core ones that a lot of people overlook. And there's always going to be something that is missed, but that's what we're trying to get at, is that you need to be actively looking in these different areas, because we all don't do business the same way, and we use different tactics, we use different vendors, we have different services that we offer, and based on that, you may have a hidden leak going on somewhere. The goal is to make sure that you're actively seeking those out.
Yeah, and that takes a lot of work, and we get so busy running all the other parts of the business that we don't focus a lot on those. And it's really important that we do. It's really important that we constantly are focused on those a couple times a year. So today we're talking about margins, and we want to talk a little bit about the good, the better, the best pricing. It's kind of one of John's favorite things. And I think, Zach, that in the climate that we're in right now with consumer confidence struggling a little bit and having people kind of really come back and question your pricing and stuff like that, it might not be a bad idea to implement this strategy a little bit and see how it works. I think what's important, Zach, is that people go out there and they try different things. And the good, better, best pricing isn't just something that they could use for service, but also when they're quoting repairs. We'll talk about that. But we'll also talk about how to create your actual rate going into 2026. So, let's talk about why margins matter. And we'll talk a little bit about margin, profit. I know that these are some of those words that kind of get confused and stuff like that. So we'll talk about them. So let's talk about margin, because margin is that number that really decides whether your business is stable or not, and whether you're kind of what they call white knuckling it every single month, right? And the best way to describe it is, man, the margin is your oxygen. It's that buffer. It's your protection. It's what allows you to fix a truck without panicking, or like I always say, taking those vacations without falling behind. Like you were able to take them and financially you don't fall behind. And it's what's going to help you be able to hire that next employer, that next tech. And then also it's what's going to be able to protect you against what's happened to us over these last couple of years, Zach, with regards to the spikes, because companies that didn't have margin built in and then prices were doubled, that was terrible. And let's talk about that a little bit to explain what it is. And I think here's the simplest way to kind of think about it. And that is that your dollar is your profit. It's just what you charge minus what it costs you. So if your cost per pull is 31 bucks and you're charging 34, your dollar profit is $3. That's your profit. But that $3 is very fragile. And let's be real, you can't run a business on $3. We all know that. But here's the key. Dollar profit is not the real measure of business health. So yes, that's your profitability. But if I want to know, Zach, how healthy my business is, like how do I know whether my business is doing well or not? It's the margin, because margin tells you if your business can survive in real life. And so the number that actually matters, and Zach and I were going back and forth on the podcast before we jumped on to how do we explain this very easily to be able to kind of understand when people talk about margin and profit and stuff like that. But the number that actually matters is your margin percentage and how much of your price is true profit. That percentage tells you everything on that margin percentage, right? Everybody remember that it's going to be a little bit different, because in our industry, you have some one pollers. They don't have a lot of overheads. So these numbers might not apply to everybody. But once you start having employees and having trucks and paying people in W-2, you have to remember that your profit is going to be less because you have more expenses. But when we talk about margin percentage, that percentage is going to tell you everything. And so a 20 to 25% is really the minimum, Zach, I think that you need to be able to stay alive, right? Your business is functioning. You have that 20 to 25%. It gives you and allows you cushion to be able to just kind of survive. A 30 to 40% is really healthy, stable, sustainable. And then a 50 plus is really kind of a premium service, strong cushion, really being able to have that breathing room. Now, I'm not saying that your business needs to be at 35% or 50%, because that's all going to depend on everything. But those are kind of what those margins are going to be able to tell you. So if your margin is under 20%, your business doesn't have a lot of room for error. And when I talk about that, I don't want people to misunderstand me. When I talk about your margin is under 20%, when you have employees and you got trucks and you got fleets and you have this big operation, right? Remember that your expenses are going to be a lot higher. So it's different from a one polar, right? That has a hammerhead and the hammerhead broke, to having 16 employees and 5 hammerheads going down. Two totally different things. So if your margin is under 20%, your business has no room for error. And for the single pullers, it might be different, but one bad month, one breakdown, one chemical spike, right, of COVID, and you might be upside down. So yes, profit matters, absolutely 100%, but margin is that key KPI that's going to tell you if your profit is strong enough. And I think a lot of times in business, that's kind of one of the things that we miss the most.
Yeah. And this is the thing, when you run the numbers and you start looking at this, you start to quickly realize if your margin is too thin. And I think in a lot of cases, people find themselves in a position to where it's like everything has to go 100% perfect in the week for us to make money. And that becomes very stressful. And when you have good margins built in, it lets you breathe. And what I mean by that is life happens. There's tons of variables, there's tons of situations that can occur. Like you were saying, trucks can break down, techs can call in sick, a pool flips green after a storm. Talking about hidden leaks and drive time and things like that. You get stuck in traffic because a train breaks down on the train tracks, whatever it may be. It goes on and on and on. And so if you're set up and your margin is thin to where it only works and you're only profitable when everything is going perfectly, that's not going to get you very far in the real world. And that's not going to hold up very well, because if you have one of those things happen, then you're going to be upside down, like you were saying. So bottom line is, having a strong margin that's going to build you that cushion. It's going to give you room to make mistakes, room to fix problems, room to take care of customers when something goes wrong without losing money. We all find ourselves in that situation. Hey, we'll just come by, we'll take care of it for you. And then it also gives you the ability to afford growth. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we encounter with people trying to get to the stage of hiring or moving up from there. So bottom line is, it gives you peace of mind. You wake up understanding that, like, hey, we're going to try to have a perfect week, but if something goes a little bit sideways, we're going to be okay. The business can absorb it. We're good. And that's what margin does. It gives you that stability. It gives you that confidence, and it lets you run your business from a place of strength rather than from a place of fear.
Yeah. And when we talk about this and we talk about that margin, we're talking about that's kind of once you figure out all your numbers. And I think this is one of the things, Zac, that most people get relief when they kind of go through the matrix and they figure out their numbers and stuff like that. And we teach them your wage, what you take home, the amount of money that you need is an expense, right? You don't survive off of what's left. That's not the way business works. You have to have a certain amount of dollars that you're going to take every single month. And as your business is more profitable and your margins go up, then you can take more money, right? And you kind of reduce that margin a little bit to kind of be able to offset all that sacrifice at the beginning when you're building your business and you're taking the least amount of money to be able to kind of grow. But that's one of the biggest things that we see with the pool pros in the matrix is once they're able to plug all those numbers in, once they're able to have that clear picture and know, okay, this is how much I'm going to take home before I even look at it and figure out what's left for the business, right? That gives them that aha moment. And then these margin numbers start to make a lot of sense for them and it gives them that clarity. Let's talk a little bit about building your rate. So once you've been able to figure out what your true cost of service is, and once you've been able to do that and know what your cost per pool is, now you can start honing in, Zac, on that margin, and your rate becomes very easy to build. Let me give an example. So let's say that your cost per pool is $31 and you want to build a margin and you're like, hey, Zac, how do I build my margin? Okay. It's a little bit easier once you know what that true cost per pool is. So if it's $31 and you want a 25% margin, right? Then you're going to be $41. If you want to go 30, you're going to be 44. If you want to be 40, you're going to go 52. If you're 50, you want to go 62, right? It's just a mathematical equation that is going to allow you to figure out what that margin needs to be. And by the way, that's per visit. I'm not saying $31 a month, right? If you multiply that and for pricing times 4 weeks, like we normally do, if you were able to calculate that and you're trying to figure out, okay, I want a 40% margin, that's going to give me about $208 to $220 a month, depending obviously on your area. So that's how you're able to mathematically do that equation. And by the way, I talk about it all the time. It's math, right? Numbers don't lie. You have to know your numbers, but it's just simple math. It's there. It is. It's clear. It's simple. And boom, you don't have to guess anymore. You know exactly where you're at and where you need to go.
Yeah. And like you said, it's math. And I think the thing is that once you start to see it this way, then raising prices stops being an emotional thing, because you're not sitting there thinking like, oh, we've all been there. Oh man, I don't know. I hope they don't get mad. I don't think they'll be okay with it. And you start thinking in the way that it's like, no, this is what it costs to run my business. This is what it takes for me to make payroll or for me to pay my bills. And once you experience that shift, it's huge because it takes all of the fear out of it. And you're not basing your pricing on what your competitors charge or what you think people want to pay. You're basing it on reality, your numbers, on what your math is financially saying you need to be at to achieve what you're trying to achieve. And that's why we always say, and people, they ask, what should we charge? It's a matter of what your business needs. It's a matter of what you're trying to accomplish with your business, because all of those are going to have different impacts on what that number needs to be. And so when you start to look at it that way and you do that, you stop apologizing for raising rates and you're not second guessing yourself on, is now the time? Should we do it? You're not worried about people complaining or things like that. Like, you're simply just putting it in terms of, this is what it takes to be able to deliver the level of service that we have said we're going to deliver and what you've come to expect. And this is what it costs for us to show up with trained technicians, with insured vehicles, with proper chemicals, and be able to spend the right amount of time to do the job correctly. When you're confident and you know what the number needs to be and you're able to deliver it that way and you present it clearly, then the customer tends to understand. And that whole conversation becomes a lot easier because you're coming from a place of confidence rather than a place of uncertainty.
And it's amazing, Zac, how when people have that number, it's what I call the aha moment. And it just fundamentally changes how you do business. Once you figure out that number, it just fundamentally changes. And the part that I want pool pros to hear, Zac, is when you raise prices based on your true cost and the margin of your business and what it actually needs, it stops being a personal thing. It takes, like you were saying, that fear away from people. And it's like, you're not trying to squeeze your customers. You're not trying to be greedy. It's not you deciding to just charge more. It's simply, that's what it's going to take to run a profitable and a successful business. And when you understand that, it changes everything. You walk into those conversations differently. And I talk about it all the time. I've talked to pool pros that figure out what their number is, and they know that day that they're going to go and quote pools $30, $40 more that they've been doing it. And when we talk to them again, they're like, we go and we code them and we get them. But it's because when you understand it, it changes everything automatically. It changes everything in your brain that when you go quote that customer, you're going to deliver that level of service for the price that you're trying to charge. And you really walk into those conversations differently, Zac. It's just automatic. It just changes fundamentally how you do it. You communicate differently. Trust me, like once you know that number, you're going to communicate with your customers differently. And you're going to catch yourself and go, wow, man, you even carry yourself differently, Zac, because once you have that clarity, it's just a changing moment in your business life. A lot of that is because you're coming from that place of clarity, Zac, and you're saying, this is what it costs to do the job the right way, with the right chemicals, with the right insurance, with the right training, the right equipment, and the right team. And that confidence is what allows you to service your customers better, not worse. Because if it's not priced correctly, you can't deliver that great service. If you're not charging enough and you're having to do more pools in order to be able to survive, you can't provide that great service. So when you raise your prices based on the numbers and not emotions, you're actually protecting the customer and you're protecting yourself in the future and your employees.
And John's talked a lot about that throughout time, about in the perspective of you're protecting your customers in a way because you're avoiding burnout and you're able to deliver a better service. You're not out there miserable, just cutting corners and going through it. I think that's an important part of it. And it's like, once you look and you go, okay, going this way, we're not going to survive. It becomes survival. Like everything changes. Like, okay, here's what has to happen and here's what we're going to do. So
yeah. Hey, Zac, let's do this. Let's take a quick word from our sponsors. When we come back, I want to talk about something that John's passionate about with the good, better, best pricing. And I think that I'm starting to kind of focus on this a little bit more, just like we talked earlier with consumer confidence kind of low. It might be a good approach for some of the pool pros to test and try. So anyways, we'll be right back.
Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. U.S. Motors Neptune Variable Speed Motor provides a versatile replacement solution for all your pool pump motor needs. This motor can communicate with pool control systems, provide low voltage options to work with time clocks, and can be installed as a standalone pump motor. The Neptune motor can be easily installed on existing pumps, upgrading them to a variable speed pump without the need for replumbing. Enjoy energy savings and quiet operation by installing a Neptune Variable Speed Motor today. For more information and to find your local distributor, visit usmotors.com/pool. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Meet the Pipeline Pump from Aquastar Pool Products, the next generation of variable speed pumps designed for serious efficiency. At its core is a high-performance permanent magnet motor that's totally enclosed and fan-cooled, delivering consistent energy-saving operation. Paired with Aquastar's patented high-efficiency volute design, the Pipeline Pump maintains optimal flow while cutting down on energy use. And it's not just efficient, it's incredibly quiet. Thanks to a high-tech rubber motor mount that absorbs vibrations and dampens sound, the pipeline runs smooth and quiet by limiting turbulence. Its 2.5-inch internal frame ensures unrestricted water flow, and it's available in both 1.5 HP and 3.0 HP models, each with 2-inch and 2.5-inch union fittings for flexible and efficient installation. Experience the pipeline difference: incredibly quiet operation, peak efficiency, and proven performance. Ask your supplier for the Pipeline Pump from Aquastar. Available now. Care Solutions, for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. Mr. Zacharias and I kind of continue the conversation. I think we were getting a little bit too passionate there for a couple minutes, kind of driving that profit and driving that margin, right?
This is what we set out to do from the very beginning. So this is this is the part that really gets us going.
Absolutely. So, Zach, I want to talk a little bit about the good, better, best pricing. And I know that this is something that John really talks about. It's a lot of the psyche of the customer, and he kind of gets into that whole psyche and being able to kind of read people and understand that. And, a lot of people have talked about it over the years with regards to quoting service and whether they do a good, better, and best. And we've talked about it a lot. And I never used to do that. Back then, I just kind of had one rate and that was it. That's what I charged. But I think in this environment that we're in with the economy and customer confidence, I think this would be a great time for pool pros to be able to try this and test it. And look, just like everything in business, the recommendation is, try something different. You are going to hear me always talk about rate regret. And I truly believe that if you're going into every pool and you're quoting $200 and nobody's balking at you, you're too cheap. You have to have some people push back. You have to lose a pool or two because your rates are too high, because then you don't know what the market can bear. And if you're in a good area and you can charge more money and you can level up your service, you should. Now, I'm not telling you to raise your rates just because and gouge your customers and give the same level of service. You have to level up and give that better level of service. But I think in this climate, Zac, the good, better, best pricing might be something that pool pros want to test, especially since customers are starting to push back on rates because they're trying to save, they're trying to protect, they don't know what's going to happen. So they're like, oh, let's cut here and let's cut there. So what this does is it really gives your customers more choices, and it gives you margin protection. So when we talk about good, it's the minimum profitable tier. And here, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, it's your entry level tier, and it's the bare minimum margin. It's just kind of a basic service. Here's the kind of service that I provide. And in some cases, you see this in our industry where it's chems only, right? The chem only can be a minimum profitable tier that meets your standard, but nothing extra. And then you go to the customer and you give them a better and your recommended tier. And it's something that has a healthy margin, right? And don't misunderstand me, just because it's a good tier, I'm not telling you to lose money or not have a good one, but the better is the recommended tier, and you're going to have a healthier margin, and you're going to have your standard rate. And one of the things that you need to understand is they've done all kinds of studies. The vast majority of people will pick the better tier than the good. And this happens to me all the time because I feel like the better gives me a better value. So therefore, I'm going to choose that better one, right? So you've got your good, you've got your better, and then you have your best. And that's the premium tier. And you're going to offer something that gives you the highest margin. And that could be faster response times, enhanced communication, added services that the good and the better don't provide. And customers are going to love the option. And John talks about it all the time. Don't shop with your wallet. Just offer the customer, because there are people that the pool is very important to them and they want the best level of service and they're willing to pay for that. Now, are all your pools going to fall into the best? No, but you have that as an option. And hey, if you have 10, 15, 20 pools in that best, that's going to give you an even healthier margin for those pools.
So you're a better guy, and apparently
I am.
I'm a best guy after my car rental fiasco, because I want all the bells and whistles. I want the insurance. I want to prepaid for the expensive gas.
I want to do it all.
I want to do it all.
But it's funny, Zac, because we all fall into what's important to us and what's not important to us. And I think personally, I fall into the best category in certain situations, the things that I'm passionate about. So you talk to me about coffee. I want a good cup of coffee. I'm willing to pay $7 or $8 for a really good cup of coffee. A lot of people look at me and go, you're a moron. But that to me is something that I enjoy. The other thing, Zac, is to me, when I go buy, whether it's computers or screens, not TVs, because I'm not big into TV, take a look, like right behind me. I mean, I have a 55-inch screen that flips vertical and horizontal, and I want to be able to work more efficiently and have 4 or 5 pages open and just have like all this real estate to be able to kind of go through. When I'm going to buy a laptop, my thought process is I'm going to buy the best, so that I don't get myself into a good situation and then I need that laptop to do something else. But when it comes to a lot of other stuff, I just kind of fall into that good category. It's very few things that I go into that better category. But that's the point, is that you want to identify what customers the pools are really important to, and they can go into that best category.
Yeah, and this is, like you talked about, this is a great time to be talking about this, with consumers being a little bit more gun shy, I guess, kind of watching their dollar a bit more. And for us personally, as you've known, we've always had one single service offering, which it's been very effective as we've grown. But now that we're starting to get bigger, we're actually moving towards a good, better, best. We're in the process of kind of figuring out what those tiers are, what they include, what the margins are going to be on them. Because, like you said, it gives customers choices. And I think in this day and age, with everything going on, people want to make the choice. And again, John has talked about this a lot, and most people are not going to pick the cheap one. Most people aren't going to need the premium one. So they're going to feel good choosing that better middle option. And they don't feel like they're overspending, but they also don't feel like that they're settling for the bare minimum. And it gives them that confidence that they're getting solid value without going crazy or going overboard. And like you said, that middle tier is where everything generally lines up business wise when you're talking about your margins, your profitability, what you can deliver on versus what you charge. So that's generally the bucket that you're going to want most of your customers falling into. And like what I like about it is that it takes the pressure off the customer when you're selling, because you're not saying, here's the quote, here's the price, take it or leave it. It's saying, like, here's the service levels, or here's the different options available to you. You pick the one that fits your needs, and you're simply just presenting options and then letting them choose which one is right for them. And again, most of the time it is going to fall into that better one. So I think taking this approach is a win for the business, and it's also a win for the customer. And one last thing, when talking about repairs and giving those estimates, we personally give multiple options. And I think it helps in the sales process because we're not just like, oh, here's your only option, take it or leave it. Like we are like, hey, here's the two solutions or three possible solutions. Here's what we recommend, what we would do in our backyard. What do you think would be best for you?
We talk about that all the time. That's huge. I think one of the things that we do in our industry, whether it's building pools or doing anything, we go to the customer and we say, this is the equipment that you're going to install. This is what you're going to get. We don't go to the customer and say, here's the different options that are available. You choose which one it is that you want. We go to the pool store, we go to take samples to a customer, and we might only have 10 samples in our showroom. And it's like, if the pool store has 50, why would you only show them 4? Give them the ability to kind of go through. We just experienced this in Huntington Beach, and we'll talk about it more in detail because we're going to have Mike come out. But he did an amazing thing. He put a showroom together where it's an immersive experience for the customer. They walk in and here's this floor, and they can look at all the things and they can choose, where normally they go and you go, oh, you want a fire bowl? Okay, here's what you're going to get. Oh, you want this water bowl? This is what you're going to get. Well, no, it's like we don't give them the ability to choose what it is that they want. For some reason in our industry, we don't focus on that with the customer. And it's just the same thing with service. They can choose what level of service they can have. But what more important, Zach, is that when you do this structure is also going to protect you, right? When you raise prices, you're not just saying, here's your new price. You're saying, here's your options. And that really is going to change the whole conversation. Let's talk about the next thing, Zach, and that is preparing for the price increase. Because our series has been about figuring out your numbers. One thing, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. One of the things that we want to make sure that we talk about is if you decide to give this a try and do the good, better, best, you've got to figure out your cost of service. You've got to figure out your margins. Don't just go up there and go, well, I charge 150. So now I'm going to do my basic at 150 and this at 180 and this. Because if you don't know what your profit is, and if you don't know whether your margin percentage is healthy, you're going to be doing the same thing. You just added 3 tiers, but you don't know what your margin is.
Or my competitor does it for XYZ, but they have half the overhead that I have, and I don't know that.
Correct. So make sure that if you're going to try this and you're going to give this as an option, that you figure out what your cost of service is, you truly figure out what your margin is, and that you use that mathematical equation that we have been talking about. So now let's talk about preparing for the price increase. And before you send out any single price increase letter, you need to do 3 things. And Zach, kind of correct me if you disagree. But number 1 is you need to review your route. That's number one. Before you even increase prices, you need to review your route. You kind of need to go through that exercise of, readjusting your route, making sure that it's the most efficient that it can be, because that's going to bring some profitability to your business. If this is the first podcast that you're hearing on these series, we just kind of talked about it in 2 podcasts ago of this series. So go back and listen to that when we talk about, obviously, focusing on fixing your route and making your route with less drive time and a lot more efficient. 2, identify the problem pools. I think this is just as important, Zac. You really have to figure out which ones have the high drive time, which ones have high chemical usage, what customers are constant callbacks, and which one of these needs special attention. You're going to have to look at all these things before you get to that price point. And then 3, you can kind of decide your tier pricing and have your good, better, best ready. And once you do this, you're ready to raise prices with that confidence, because now you know the numbers. Now you've fixed your route, you fixed those efficiencies. More importantly, the math and the numbers are just going to support your business.
Yeah, I think it's very important to review all of those things. And my whole thing is that anytime I'm going through something like this, I want to be armed with the most information and the most accurate information. Because on the other hand, we go through these things and you might find that, hey, in this current situation, we don't need to make any price adjustments. And that's going to give us an advantage. For whatever reason, we've structured ourselves or we do something differently to where this is not going to impact us. So as everyone else is running out there and they're panicking and they're saying, we got to raise rates, and we can sit here and hold the line, that could give you huge advantage. So before you dive in and you're getting prepared for this increase, you do want to go through your route. You want to make sure that you have all the information or problem pools and all these other things that Edgar was just discussing. And I think I'm just going to kind of repeat it and go into it one more time, is that once you know these numbers, once you sit down and you figure this stuff out and you arm yourself with all of that information, it gives you a big mind shift, and you stop worrying about what customers are going to say. You stop worrying about the pushback. You stop worrying about, like, if they're going to drop, we have them, and it's like, we're paying to do their pool. So if they want to drop, absolutely, please drop. Thank you. We wish you well. And you're not worried about, oh, are we too expensive against the competitor? And I'm going to say, this does not mean that you should not be mindful of where you're at in the market. And you may have to do work on the other side of the equation to shop better, buy better, or manage that stuff. But you stop worrying about, hey, if I'm up here a little bit, like, I'm way too expensive, no one's going to go with me. And you start understanding this is where I need to be. So I think it just, again, it gives you a lot of clarity. That fear starts to disappear. You're not guessing anymore. You're not hoping that it works out. Been there, done that. You're doing what the business needs.
Absolutely. And I know that a lot of this is, obviously, it's going to take a lot of work to do. And it's going to take a lot of work to get there, to be able to do this properly and figure out what your margin is. But it's like anything else in business. You have to do it. You have to take the time to stop. You have to take the time to maybe not be able to do the it, so that you can kind of focus on these things. This is why we always talk about these things during the wintertime, because this is a time where we know that repairs are down, pools aren't turning green, customers aren't using the pool, so they're really not that calling for every little thing. They're a lot more flexible. So business is slower during the wintertime. We still need to clean the pools. We still need to do all that. But all that other craziness that keeps us busy during the summertime is gone. And so now is the time for you to be able to sit down. And by the way, it takes time. It's not something that you do right away. Zac and I have been jumping on with the members of the Matrix and stuff like that. And we've been having to do, within 2 weeks, 4 calls, right? Just to kind of help them through that process. But what you need to do is kind of go out there, find somebody that's going to help you, guide you a little bit to figure out these numbers very quickly and get on track. Because we can talk about all this, but if you don't do it and you don't know what your numbers are, it's dangerous to just sit there and just kind of throw numbers up at the wall and figure it out. It's not something you want to do.
And it's like you always say, you got to flex the muscle. You have to become comfortable with this, because the reality of it is it's going to change. It's continuously changing, because prices are fluid, the economy is fluid. There's just a whole bunch of variables that are ebbing and flowing and things going on. And this is a practice and an exercise that you need to get comfortable with and go through. And it's just like anything else. It's like hitting golf balls. It's like shooting hoops, whatever it is, you've got to practice. And I thoroughly enjoy it. I enjoy the challenge of it. I'm often wrong and I'm often inaccurate, but just going through that
And
process
guessing.
and I'm a good guesser.
But I swear I'm going to get a shirt for you that on the chest just says I'm a good guesser. That's all it's going to say. And we're going to see who catches on, Zac.
Right. Yes. So just embrace it. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Zac, let's do this. Let's take our final word from our sponsors. When we come back, I'm going to get some final thoughts, and then we're going to talk about one more, which is going to, we were only going to do a part 4, but I think we're going to add one more to this because we're talking about the pricing. So let's take our word from our sponsors. When we come back, we will continue.
Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. U.S. Motors Neptune Variable Speed Motor provides a versatile replacement solution for all your pool pump motor needs. This motor can communicate with pool control systems, provide low voltage options to work with time clocks, and can be installed as a standalone pump motor. The Neptune motor can be easily installed on existing pumps, upgrading them to a variable speed pump without the need for replumbing. Enjoy energy savings and quiet operation by installing a Neptune Variable Speed Motor today. For more information and to find your local distributor, visit usmotors.com/pool. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Meet the pipeline pump from Aquastar Pool Products, the next generation of variable speed pumps designed for serious efficiency. At its core is a high-performance permanent magnet motor that's totally enclosed and fan-cooled, delivering consistent energy-saving operation. Paired with Aquastar's patented high-efficiency volute design, the pipeline pump maintains optimal flow while cutting down on energy use. And it's not just efficient, it's incredibly quiet. Thanks to a high-tech rubber motor mount that absorbs vibrations and dampens sound, the pipeline runs smooth and quiet by limiting turbulence. Its 2.5-inch internal frame ensures unrestricted water flow, and it's available in both 1.5 HP and 3.0 HP models, each with 2-inch and 2.5-inch union fittings for flexible and efficient installation. Experience the pipeline difference: incredibly quiet operation, peak efficiency, and proven performance. Ask your supplier for the pipeline pump from Aquastar. Available now. Care Solutions, for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. Mr. Zacharias and I continue our conversation on profits and margins and making money, baby, which is what everybody likes, right? Who doesn't like to make money?
That's what it's all about, right?
Right. So, Zach, let me get some final thoughts.
I think this is really good stuff. I love this time of year when we get to kind of go through this. It actually, for me, it gets me fired up. It gets me thinking. It gets me diving in things. So this is a great push for me as well. And this is just one of those elements that once you start to understand it and it starts to click for you, again, go throw it out there. The clarity is just so empowering on the decisions you make and the moves you make with your business. And we talk to a lot of people, and that objective is growth. And that question is, how do I get to the first employee? How do I get to the first location? Or how do I get to the next location? And whether you're able to do that or not is going to lie in what your numbers are telling you. So good stuff. And I'm excited to kind of continue this conversation and keep going through it.
Yeah, so we did 4 parts, and I think we want to add the one, Zach, that you and I were talking about before we jumped on the podcast. And today we talked about what margin really is. We talked about how to build your new service rate. We talked about the good, better, the best, and how to prepare for that price increase. I think the next one that we should do is maybe a part 5, where what we do is we talk about how to announce your new pricing, what to expect from the customers, how to communicate effectively, and how to keep customers through that price increase. I think it'll be an episode that everybody needs to listen to, kind of getting ready for 2026.
For sure.
For sure. So absolutely. So, hey, everybody, excited for next week. Remember, know your numbers, protect your margins, and build your business with intention. I hope that everybody has a great week. Get out there, crush it, and we'll catch everybody on the other side. Have a good one. Bye, Zach.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or poolnationpodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at pool.nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to poolinvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. Poolmanuniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry. A pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at poolmanuniversity.com.